In this video, I'm going to show you some of the shortcut keys that are available in CorelDRAW. If you notice here, I prepared something here that will show you what's the shortcut key. So for example, here it's B, E, C, L, R, and T. In this page here, this is more of how to align objects in CorelDRAW. When I say objects, it could also be text, like for example this one here. So let's start with letter B. So if you select objects and you type in B, it will align to the bottom. So for example, I've got 3 balls here, and I've clicked on the first one, hold down shift and click on the second ball and the third ball and type in B, so that will align bottom. If you notice, very important thing is how will CorelDRAW know that which object will be the basis of your alignment, right? So it's always the last one. So for example, here I'm going to click on this one, hold down shift, and let's say I'm going to choose this ball here, and then this one will be the last, the small baseball. Click on that one and type in B, so the basis would be the baseball. Okay, so now I'm going to mix this up again, and let's say E. So E aligns center horizontally. So basically this one would be centered horizontally like that. So I hold on shift and click on the second one and the third ball and type in E, so it would align horizontal. So if we're going to draw a line from here, that one is aligned horizontal. Okay, so now it's aligned center horizontal. Now center vertically. So again, let's do it this way. I'm going to click on this one, this, and this is the last one. Hold down shift, of course, and then type in C for center. So all of this will be centrally, it would be in the center. Okay, so C for center, and then so align left for L, R for right, T for top. Now let's use instead of objects, let's use text here. Okay, so if I click on this text here, hold down shift, and this is the last one, and type in letter L to left aligned. Now you know what I'll do, I'm just gonna add some more text here so that it's more obvious. Oops, it's more obvious when I align it to the right or left. Okay. So again, click on this one, hold on shift, this one, sorry, I'll move this again. Okay, so click, hold on shift, and then L for left. See, if you notice, it would align left, and if I type in R, it would align right. And then top. Okay, so for example, you've got text here, text there. So click, hold on shift. So make sure you hold down shift to select a multiple object, and I click on this is the last one, and I type in T, and that would be the basis of top. So it's top aligned. There you go. Okay, now let's go to page number 2 here. I'm just gonna delete this and this one here. So Control plus page down, back one, and then front one. So I've got an object here. Just gonna create objects here. Okay, so I'm gonna color the object so that you could really see how it looks like when the shortcut will be executed. Okay, so Control page down. So that will be back one. So for example here, the yellow object or the circle, I want to page. I'm gonna make that bigger here. Page down, right? And not to the back, not to the very back, but to the back of this blue rectangle. So I'm gonna hold down Control and then page down. If you notice, it went to the back of it. And if I hold down, hold down Control and page down again, it will be to the back, right? So now we go front one. So for example, this one. So I'll go to the yellow one and Control page up So I want one step to the front, and there. Now let's say you want to, so instead of control, you hold down shift and then control back one, shift page down means to say the very back of the objects, of all the objects. So I click on the yellow one, or the ellipse, and then instead of control page down, I hold down shift page down. It'll go to the very back of the objects. Okay, so that's the same thing with shift page up. So instead of control page up, I'll go shift page up. Okay, so I'll hold down shift and then page up. See, that's the very front. Okay, so it's really easy to remember. Control for backing one or backing up front, just one step. But if you hold down shift instead of control, that would be really going to the back of the whole object or to the front of the objects. Now let's go to text treatment. So for example, to make bold, to make underline or italic. So I'm just gonna type in my name here, and okay, so I'm just going to put my username, my family name. Okay, so my name is Alex Galvez. Okay, so Control B is make the text bold, right? So Control B to make the text bold, right? Oops, sorry. So you have to highlight the text first before you can do Control B to bold the text. For example, here I just want to bold the letter A, so I highlight it and Control B, and it makes it bold. So for the Galvez here, I'm gonna make the whole thing bold. Control B. Okay. Now I decided I want the Galvez, my surname, to be underlined, so I click on Control U, and it becomes underlined. Okay, and then let's say I'm just going to highlight the LEX and italics, so Control I to make it italic. Okay, so now let's go to the justification of text. So in here, I've got a paragraph text. Okay, so the paragraph text, if I click on Control H, is force align. So Control H. Oops, I have to click on it first. I have to highlight it, and Control H is force align. Okay, so even the last line here, it's force align. So it's not really advisable to make force align if in this situation. So instead of force align, I would go here. It would be full justify, or Control J. I didn't put it here, but it's Control J. So Control J would fix the problem of the last line. Okay. So here, this paragraph here, let's do, so Control E is to center it, Control L is to left justify, and Control R to right justify. Okay, so the secret there is you have to highlight the text first before you can do the justification. Now let's go to changing font size, or decreasing or increasing it. Okay. So Control plus number 2 in your keyboard. If you look at this one here, your keyboard, so 2 and number 8. Okay, that's because the arrow goes down here for the 2, and then the arrow goes up for the letter for the number 8. Okay, but before you do that, you have to highlight the text first. So for example, this change word, I highlighted it, and then I hold down Control and then 2, and it decreases the size. But if you notice, only the word change decreases it, because that's what I selected. Now for the size, I highlight size and Control 8 to make the size bigger. Okay, so that's really straightforward. Okay, so convert artistic text to paragraph text and vice versa. Okay, so now I have to explain first, why do we need to convert artistic text to paragraph text? Okay, um, here's the reason why. If I enlarge this one, and it's still a paragraph text, not an artistic text, I'm just gonna enlarge that one. You notice that the text didn't increase the size. It's only the paragraph, the text box increased the size. Okay, but once I make that artistic text, the text will be bigger. Okay, so let's do the shortcut first. So I click on the paragraph, okay, and I hold on Control F8, and you notice it's no longer a paragraph text. It's an artistic text. Okay, so now if I make it bigger, the text becomes bigger too. Not like this one here. This is still paragraph text, and you know if it's a paragraph text because you got this. I don't know what you call this, like a text. Anyway, those two squares there, because this one is artistic text. It doesn't have it, right? It doesn't have those squares. But anyway, if I increase the size of this, it would just wrap into the rectangle, but it doesn't increase the size. Now, what are the advantages and disadvantages? The disadvantage of this one here, which is an artistic text already, is that I can't really wrap around. Like, for example, I'm stuck with these lines here. I can't put this, say, the printing and typesetting industry word on top here. Okay, same row as the first line, because it's already an artistic text. But with this one here, I still can do it. I can stretch it, and if you notice that the text, it wraps around my rectangle. Okay, and okay, so let's say I convert this to artistic text. So you click on the paragraph text and hold on Control and then F8, and that makes it artistic text now. Okay. Now let's go for this F3, F4. So this is more of like a zooming in and zooming out of the of the view in CorelDRAW. So okay, so for example, I'm zooming in like that, and if I want to zoom out, you just hit F3 and it will zoom out, right? Just gonna delete this one here. Now for this one, if I'm in this area here and I want to see the whole objects, I just hit all of the objects in my CorelDRAW document. I just hit F8, and F8 is very handy. I always use this one, F3 and F4. F4 is to zoom to fit to all my objects. Okay. Now I'm gonna show you something here. If I have an object here, right, and I'm gonna zoom in here. If I click on F4, notice that one, because I have an object here, so the view is to all of the objects, zoom to fit to all of my objects. That's how I do it too. If I want to check if my graphics has something outside of my page, I do F4. Okay. Then if I notice I have it here, I'll just delete it, and I hit F4 again. So that's the only thing I have. Okay. Now Shift F2 is zoom to selection. So for example, this is my selection, this F3 key here. So I click on that, and then I click on Shift F2, and that will just zoom into that selected area or selected object. Okay, so F4 to zoom out. Now Shift F4 is zoom to page. Now I'm gonna do Shift F4 now. Shift F4, and because this is my paper page, I mean my paper, so it will zoom to all of that one. Okay, so that's more of the page. Okay, now let's go to. I also use this one, especially if I have a client beside me and I want to let her or him see the whole object, I mean the whole graphics without the interface. Here's what I do. Okay, so it's F9 for full screen. Now I can't really do it now, because if I do it now, you can't really see it. Okay, but you try it yourselves. Like for example, the difference is if you click on F4, it will zoom in to fit to all of your objects. But if you notice, you still have this interface here, right? But if you click on F9, it would remove the view, remove the interface, and you only have the graphics, which is actually very good for presentation. Like say, for example, your clients want to see the the artwork without the CorelDRAW interface. You just hit F9. I always use this one to show clients my artwork. Okay, so now here in N for Navigator. So brings up the Navigator window, allowing you to navigate to an object in a document. Okay, that's best if you are really zoomed in here. So for example, I'm zoomed in here. Okay, so I type in N. So when you type in N, this box will show up. Then you can actually navigate to the area that you want to see. It's very handy. So hit escape to exit it. So I'll do it again. So type N, and that would show up. Now if you're not zoomed in, okay, so for example, I'm going to F8, so the whole zoom to fit. See, if I click on N, nothing, like there's nothing going on, right? That's because you don't need to, because you already zoom out. Okay, this is useful once you are really zoomed into an object or an area on your graphic. Like for example, here I type in N, then you can make use of that shortcut. Hit escape to end that command. Okay, so number 10 is the nudge. Number 10, page 10 is center to page. Now this is my page, right? So P is the what do you call this? Is the shortcut key. So if I click on this circle here and type in P, it would center to my page. So this is my page, right? Now when is that useful? Like this is useful, especially for example, I want all of this to be in the same center. I would just select all of these three and type in P. Now I have it all in the center. So that's useful in that one. Yeah, so basically that's it, centering it, right? And okay, so number 11 here is nudge. So micro nudge, control, and then the arrow, and then control up is nudge up. So shift is super nudge, is like it moves farther, right? So control, micro, and then shift is super nudge. So the comparison here, so micro nudge, I click on this one, and then I hold on control and then the right arrow. That is micro nudge. And if you notice, micro nudge is one step, small steps, right? Let's go super nudge here. So I click on super nudge. So instead of holding down the control button, I hold down the shift button and then my arrow key. You can't really see here because I'm not zoomed in here. Okay, so we go super nudge, and see micro nudge would be control, small steps, big steps. Okay, honestly I don't really use this, but it's just there for you to know. Control G, this one I always use because this is more like organizing your graphics, and instead of, like, for example here, if I want to move all of these three objects in here, I will go click, hold on shift, and then move it, right? But if those are grouped together, it's easier. So it's just control G. So I highlight all of it, I put it in the window, and then Control G, then I can move it. Okay, and of course ungroup is Control U. So Control, this one is grouped together. Control U is to ungroup. There you go. Now duplicates the selected object and offset by a specific amount. If I click on the object here and Control D, right? So I already set this to the distance. Okay, so if you go to General, okay, if I go to Options in General, okay, I'm gonna delete this one first. Let's go back here. So I'm going to go to Options and General. Okay, where's my options here? So Tools, go Tools and then Options, and then you go to General, right? It says General, and then where is it? Horizontal nudge. I'm gonna cancel this first. So it's Document and then General. Okay, so Tools, Document. Here's a document, and I click on General. So this is the duplicate offset. So now it duplicates horizontally 0.25 of an inch and vertically 0.25 of an inch. That's why when I click here and then I click on Control D, see that one? So the distance between here is 0.25 inch and this one's 0.25 inch. Okay. Now, what if you don't want an offset? Like when you duplicate, it's always the plus sign in your keyboard. So for example here, I click on my plus sign in my keyboard. Now I've got two on top of each other. See that one? Okay, so now let's go to page 14, Alt Z. This for me is very useful for snapping objects. So snapping objects is Alt Z. So I'm gonna click on Alt Z right now, and I'm gonna see if it's let's see, it toggles objects with snap to object. So I click on Alt Z, and let's see. Now you know if the Alt Z or snap to object is activated, because if I say, for example, I selected this one, and then you move your mouse, and it will show you that, see here, it's an edge. And if I move here, it says midpoint, and then node, midpoint. That is really useful. Say for example, if I want to, so I'm ready in snap to object. You can also go to snap object by click on view and then snap to object or Alt Z, right? But this video is more of the shortcut keys, right? So for example, I want to snap this to the midpoint of this line here. So I'm gonna grab this node and I'm gonna go to the midpoint. I'm going to go slowly until I see the midpoint there. So that's the midpoint. Okay, so that's really, really useful. Say an example here for circles, right? So I'm gonna get the center of the circle and I'm going to go to this endpoint here. There. So same thing here. Especially when you're doing technical drawings, this is very useful. Yeah. Okay, so number 15 is curves. Curves, Control Q is converting, allowing objects to be modified by using the shape tool. So for example here, this one, I created this one by creating a box like that, right? Now, what if I want to edit this one? If I want to put this node here over here, I can't really do that. See, there's no way I can do it because it's still a rectangle. Okay, so I have to make it curves. Okay, so I'm gonna click on Control Q to change it to curves. Now it is a curve already, right? So if I go to my shape tool, I can reshape it because it's a curve already. Okay, not like before I cannot. Say for example here, this is not converted to curves yet. If I go to my shape tool, the only thing I can edit is the what do you call this? Is the radius here, but I can't reshape it like this, right? So in order to do that, Control Q or convert to curves. Now it's convert to curves. Now I can edit it. That's the same thing with text here. So for the text, if I go to my shape tool here, the only thing you can change is the spacing of your text, right? Spacing of the text like that. But I can't really say, for example, I want to make this T bigger, just this top portion bigger. That's why you need to make it a curve. So Control Q. Now it's a curve. Now if I go to my shape tool, I can edit or distort my text here. That is really useful for graphic designer. That is useful, the curves. Then you can stylize your font. Okay, so now the 16 is breaking apart. Okay, this I also use. So an example here for this is, so I have the text, the word break, right? Now my objective here is I want to rotate letter R. I want to make the E bigger. I can't do it now because it's not broken yet. It's not separated yet. Okay, so I click on arrange, or sorry, I'll just click on Control K. That's the shortcut key. Control K is breaking apart. Now if you notice, it's individual now, right? So now I can rotate this. I can make the E bigger. Okay, that is because it's already broken apart. Now let's do the paragraph text. What would happen if I break apart this paragraph text? So the paragraph text, it follows the shape of the paragraph of the text box, right? Now if I want, let's say I want to make this individual lines. Okay, so that is breaking apart. So Control K. So click on Control K, and if you notice that now the lines are broken, so I can move that. So you're gonna use this especially when you're customizing, or you're changing the line spacing, or let's say for example you want to adjust that. Okay, so that's breaking apart. Okay, I just prepared 16 of these shortcut keys, but there's a lot. If you go to one of your tutorials, it shows you how to get that list of the shortcut keys. But for now, I'll just stop to the 16th. Thank you, and I hope you've learned a lot about the shortcut keys in CorelDRAW. Thank you.